Utah's history is rich with stories that showcase the perseverance of the human spirit. Take, for example, the early mountain men who explored the rugged terrain of the West. Carson Pate brings that history to life by stepping into their shoes to become a 19th century mountain man.
I guess we just hope that we live long enough to discover what some of our interests and our passions are. I'm going to work so I can make a little money, so I can put gas in the truck and go to work and make a little money, and it's kind of just this vicious cycle that just repeats itself. And so you have to find, releases for yourself and find those things that you feel like draw you in. Some of us, want to be sports stars. Others want to be, really good photographers. Some of us just want to run away and be a mountain man and live like they could in the pre-1840s. The term mountain man is interesting because it really doesn't show up in period literature. It tends to be a term that we've come up with more towards the modern day. You'll see it in dime novels and stuff. Typically they're known as trappers or mountaineers. There are certainly people that go out, myself included, that try to put yourselves in a pre-1840 setting and to get everything as close to what they can and as accurate as you can. Being right here in Cache Valley, we kind of are in the heart of a lot of fur trade events that happen.
They would actually have a thing where they'd meet about once a year and they'd all get together and trade, because if you got all your beaver, how are you going to get them back to St. Louis? You're gonna walk. Do you want to walk all the way back to St. Louis every year? So they'd have trading posts similar to this one, or they'd have things they called rendezvous. And a rendezvous is a French word that means come together, is basically what it means. But they'd get together, and that was kind of like their Walmart.
Rendezvous since the earliest days have kind of been a social gathering and a social event, and they still are that today. It's a time to go see old friends and see people you might haven't seen for a year and sometimes even longer, and you go and you socialize. But a big part of the rendezvous is public.
There it goes.
There it goes. Whoa!
Presenting it to people who would otherwise have no exposure to it.
We're going to shoot 18 rounds. If you hit one, good. Hit 2 more. Okay.
But then you also have kind of that image of the lone free trapper, the man who's kind of off by his own self, and he's kind of captured the imagination of the American people. I don't know a whole lot of the history. I can't tell you what year every single rendezvous was held and where it was held, but I can tell you what it's like to jump in this water. I can tell you what it's like to skin a beaver and get your hands all greasy and stretch that on a hoop. Mountain man's primary job is to go out and harvest beaver so they can use the pelts to ship back east and make hides. So the only responsibility of you as a trapper is to come out and trap beaver and prepare those hides so they can go to market. Bait is just carried in a little glass bottle, and that keeps it a little more fresh, keeps it from drying out, and keeps that scent nice and strong. Some people don't like the scent. I've come to like it quite a bit. I think it smells pretty good. It's really rewarding to me when you can do something just the way they described. It gives you kind of a unique perspective, but there's something a little more when you take it a little further. Even when it's hard, even when it's tough, and I think we've kind of lost that in our society today. We've gotten too used to comfort, we've gotten used to the ease of everything just being there when we need it. Take it pretty extreme sometimes and pretty hardcore, but if you don't, you'll never really know what it's like. All the tools that you see here come from an era when they were still being used. This is what they used when blacksmithing was still a part of everyday life. And a lot of the machines work every bit as good today as they did in the day they were made. So when you develop the skills yourself to where you're able to do things yourself, you're able to make your own things, there's a deep satisfaction, I think, that comes from that. You know, you're capable of doing amazing things if you're able to push yourself and kind of get over that mental block. And so when you kind of disconnect from that and disconnect from the modern world, it reconnects you with your mind, and then you say, well, I can do this. I'm gonna make it and I'm gonna be fine. You do about as much research as you do in the field work. You know, you're always studying the old journals, looking at the old paintings and trying to figure out, you know, what did they do? Why did they wear certain things? Why did they dress as they did? And then you go out and you try it, and as you do so, you find, you know, certain things start popping out at you. You say, well, I read that in a journal, and now I see why they did it. I understand a little bit more. You know, when I read that journal of Jeremiah Johnson, you know, coming up over the hill and looking down into the Green River Valley and seeing all the rivers and all that kind of stuff, you say, well, you look back over your shoulder and you say, well, this is what it was like. This is what it was. And in a way, you literally are walking in the same footsteps that they walked in. And that's pretty cool when you're dressed up, you know, the way that they were living, the way that they were living and experiencing some of the same things that they experienced in the same place. We do it because it's fun. We do it because we enjoy it, and we do it so we can preserve it and pass it on.